everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is my April TBR. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books, and today is all about the second part of my April TBR. So you may have already seen my TBR for my participation in the Picture This Readathon, which is being hosted by Jack over at Spread Bookjoy and Shelley at Shelley Swearingen. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description down below so that you can go and check it out. But this video is going to be my normal run-of-the-mill TBR instead, and this is going to be all the other books that I plan to read that are not picture books in April. Got a few reading plans in April, but I have tried to keep them a bit lighter than normal. Last month I had a TBR with just so much going on that, surprisingly enough, I haven't got through a lot of it. So I'm hoping to finish off maybe some of the books from March, maybe get some time to do a bit of mood reading as well. So I do have a few plans, and some of them are finishing off plans. My first and biggest plan, and the reason I had been keeping April quite clear, is a huge book that I've had on my shelf for a lot of years and I have never had the courage to actually pick it up, and that is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation, but yeah, so House of Leaves. I was recommended this when I went into Waterstones many years ago. I was looking for the second book in Justin Cronin's The Passage series, and it hadn't actually come out yet, and the bookseller recommended this book. They wrote it down for me on a piece of paper, which I then brought home, and I believe asked for this book for a birthday or Christmas present, and my husband Julie bought it for me. And when I saw it, I just didn't know what to do with it, really. If you've never heard of House of Leaves, it's a very unconventional book. It has some pages that have almost nothing on them, other pages where writing is sort of in the wrong direction, or just a wide variety of different things going on with this book. So I've never quite known how to tackle it, and I've decided to tackle it as a buddy read with Jack from Spread Bookjoy, and we've had this one planned in for a while to get ourselves used to the idea. I believe Jack has owned her copy for a number of years as well, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this, but I am also a little bit terrified, so we will see how it goes, and hopefully my plan is that by buddy reading it, I'm hoping that we will be able to get our head around it together and encourage each other to carry on. So it's a very, very heavy book. It looks more like a textbook in terms of how big it is, how thick it is, and the style of paper. It actually has an index in the back, which is a bit worrying. And including the index, it does have 704 pages, which is a lot, but I think the index is quite large. And as I've said, some pages barely have any writing on them at all. But this is an over 600 pager. Wish me and Jack luck. The second book that I definitely am going to tackle in April is the next book for the Annealong. So the Annealong is being hosted by Emily over at Novelle Novels, and we are reading one Anne of Green Gables book per month. So Anne of Green Gables was in January, Anne of Avonlea in February, and we've just read Anne of the Island in March. So our next book is Anne of Windy Willows, because we're reading these in chronological order, not publication order. This is by L.M. Montgomery, and this is the fourth book all about Anne Shirley. So really looking forward to reading this. Anne is now a bit older. I'm not going to read the blurb because I don't want to spoil it for myself, but in the last book Anne had gone off to college. Life was changing quite a lot, so it'll be interesting to see what further changes we have in this fourth book. I'm really enjoying reading those with the Annealong group. Another group that I will probably be joining in with in April is Christiefest, and Christiefest's book for April is Sparkling Cyanide by Agatha Christie, and I don't actually own a separate copy of Sparkling Cyanide. I own this delightful 1940s omnibus. It's very well used, and I got this from a library book sale for 20p. It has N or M, Towards Zero, Sparkling Cyanide and Crooked House in it. I was hoping that by the time I reread Sparkling Cyanide I would have another copy of it, but I don't. So I'm going to get on and read it again in my lovely, very old omnibus. And Sparkling Cyanide, if I remember correctly, is about a group of people meeting again a year after that same group of people met in the same place and a murder occurred. Rosemary Barton, it was thought that she'd maybe killed herself with cyanide in her champagne, but knowing Agatha Christie, it's probably murder, and the story is a standalone. It says on the back here, a memorial dinner for a beautiful heiress turns sour when the anniversary event is tainted by another sudden death. Sounds like typical Christie, and it is. It will be a reread for me, and I'm looking forward to it. On to some finishing off. I've got 2 books on the go that were meant to be read over 2 months. One is my March of the Mammoths, Don Quixote. Yes, I'm still reading this. I did start this last year, but my thoughts that I would be able to read it in 1 month were inaccurate, and I'm actually quite a bit behind where we should be in the group. I was hoping to get to halfway, which is here, by the end of the month, but I didn't. I am about here. So I've got a lot of reading to do in April of Don Quixote. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, because I'm really enjoying Don Quixote. Poor Don Quixote, every time I have something else as a priority read, he gets bumped to the side and not paid any attention to. And this is what happened to him last year as well. So I really would like to give Don Quixote some deserved quality time in April. So hopefully I will get that finished in April. I keep saying that. And secondly, this was meant to be a 2-month read with the Wolf Hall Readalong, which is also run by Emily at Novelle Novels, Marissa at Blatantly Bookish, and Tori at Hufflepuff Discovery. We were reading over March and April Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel, having read Wolf Hall in January and February. However, I didn't actually start this in March, so I've got to start this and catch up with the group. It's a lot smaller than Wolf Hall, and this is supposed to be the best one of the trilogy, so I don't think that that will be a problem, and I will tackle that in April. Those are most of my main plans. I also want to join in with AJ Dunn's Killer Reads Thriller Month Book Club. I'm still, as we speak, I'm currently still working on March's book, which was Those Bones Are Not My Child by Toni K. Bambara. This is an extremely heavy subject matter book and very, very difficult to read. Also very long and very literally heavy as a book. I am trying my best to finish that by the end of March, but I think in reality it will be early April. But the April pick for the Thriller Month Book Club, which is where we are reading Penguin's Top 60 Thrillers of All Time. The choice this month is Enduring Love by Ian McEwan. I don't own a copy of this book, but I have borrowed it on the Libby app in both ebook form and audiobook form, and I will likely audiobook this one. Looking forward to that as well. And the other thing that I'm borrowing on Libby in the hopes of joining in, my good friend Gem over at Gemma Books is having a read-along of the book Pachinko. Can't remember the author's name off the top of my head, so I'm going to put it on the screen somewhere. But yes, Gemma is having a read-along of Pachinko. There is now a wonderful group of people joining together to read Pachinko. The book sounds very intriguing, so I think I might give it a go. The other book I'm really hoping to read in April is a library book which I'm hoping to go and collect this afternoon, which is The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. I don't have to read this for any reason, I just want to read it, and I've wanted to read it ever since I read about it for the BookTube prize. It's now also on the Women's Prize list, and I would really, really like to read it. So I just hear about it on BookTube and on Bookstagram all the time at the moment, so I must try it for myself, and my reservation has come in at the library, so hopefully I'll get that read in April. Another book that I plan to read in April on audiobook is Careless by Kirsty Capes. This has also been longlisted for the Women's Prize, and that's why I'm going to read it. I'm going to be buddy reading it with the lovely Gemma over at Gemma Books. I will link her channel down below, and we're hoping to read this in April. I don't really know too much about what this one is about, other than it's about a young woman, I believe, who has grown up in care, and I believe she finds herself pregnant, and I think it's a book about that. So both Gemma and I have said that it's probably not a book we would normally pick up. We're looking forward to seeing why it's made it onto the Women's Prize long list. I do also have 3 library books that I borrowed out last month and didn't get to, and I would really love to get to this one, which is Ray Bradbury's Now and Forever. I don't really know anything about this book other than it is 2 novellas collected together. One's called Somewhere a Band is Playing and one's called Leviathan 99. So I hope to read that, but I don't know if I'm going to get a chance. I also did get out of the library last month Agnes Grey in the hopes of joining in with the Bronte-along. Haven't got to that either, but I do have a free copy of this on Audible as well, so I may try and catch up. Other than that, I may try and catch up on some of the books I just didn't get time to read in March, and I've got all my picture books to read, so my main focus really is going to be on the picture books, House of Leaves, Anne of Windy Willows, and a few other little group and buddy reads dotted about the place that I'm hoping to join in with. I hope you've all read some really good books in March and have got some really good books lined up for April. If you've enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And please do comment down below to let me know what you might be reading in April. That's all from me today. Thanks for watching, and I do hope you'll join me again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.